Hey there, I'm going to do a real basic overview on left-hand technique for the guitar. And I think the first thing to think about is what style of guitar you're playing. We're not going to talk about classical guitar today because that's a whole different deal where you play like this. I'm going to do another video about that. But today we're talking about steel string or electric. And whether you play bluegrass or jazz or blues or metal or folk, it doesn't really matter. A couple things you have to take in consideration are your own hands, what style of music you play, and what kind of sound you're trying to get. So a couple things that are, if we take like a real simple, just chromatic pattern, maybe starting at the 5th fret, and we'll just play, all 4 notes. Right, you've all seen that. A couple things to think about that you can kind of do right now to make your playing a little bit better. One is to practice it. Practice is big. And 2 is to play as close to this next fret as you can. So anytime you're playing a note and you're fretting it, you want to play as close, like if this is our 5th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have all this space in between the fret that we can push it down. But the spot you want is just as close to that next fret as you can, to where I feel the metal. That's your spot. So if I'm practicing, I try to think, this is the spot I'm looking for. I think of a thin little band just behind the fret. Because you're not really pushing the string down to the wood, you're just pushing it down to touch the metal. And if you push down here, and back here, with the same pressure, you notice the note won't ring out. It'll be kind of a chicken. So if you take this pattern and really focus your practice on just playing as close to the next fret as you can, you've cut the amount of work your fingers are doing down quite a bit. Efficiency is a real big part of playing. Now the other thing is, the way I'm playing right now is I've got my thumb directly against the back of the neck. And so a lot of teachers will teach you to make a thumbs up, stick your thumb against the back of the neck, bring your fingers around so they look like so, they're kind of perpendicular to the strings. If you look down like this, you can see my thumb will be behind my middle finger. Now this is essentially what we call a classical technique. And so it's generally the most efficient way to play to get your fingers to go to really move quickly and lively. But you'll notice if you have studied with a jazz teacher or a blues teacher, most likely the thumb's going to be up over here. So we can really horse those. Bends. So depending on what style of music you're playing, you may have your thumb up. And I'm not a big freak about that. Some teachers really want your thumb to be down and never to see it. But you kind of have to find out what works for you and what style of music you like. So a good place to start, thumbs up, into the back of the neck of the guitar. You bring those fingertips around. And if you're an advanced player, try working on your pieces or your tunes or whatever you're practicing, keeping those fingers as close to that next fret as you can. The next is you want to just play as lightly as you can and get away with the note. So I'll do something like, as I'm playing through the scale, I'll play the note, and I'll chicken it, and I'll push down just enough until I hear it ring. And I'll try to play all those notes, which is that same amount of pressure. Right? A little chromatic pattern is really good. Work on your left hand. So if you're feeling pretty good about that, you're kind of warmed up, your left hand's feeling okay, your wrist is feeling a little loose, then you start moving to maybe some slurs. A slur is a word for a hammer-on or a pull-off. And so a slur would be play this note at the 5th fret, and then quickly snap your finger down. And here's a spot you'll see a lot of players when they first start out, they'll squish this tip joint. And if your tip joint, meaning this joint right here, if that one's squishing down at all when you play, you're losing strength. So you want to try to keep that really strong. Make sure. So your fingers are kind of like a hammerhead coming down. You can kind of almost hear my finger hitting the wood. So your fingers aren't moving necessarily with a lot of power, but with a lot of quickness. So slurs are great to wake up your fingers. And the pull-offs will be a little tougher. You work your way down. So there's some things to think about with your left hand. Good luck.